I'm not ashamed.
Why was Jesus anointed with oil in the days before his crucifixion? This is the question that we seek to answer today as we continue our verse-by-verse study of the book of Matthew on walking through the Bible.
The glory of his cross.
If you have a Bible with you, you can turn to Matthew chapter 26. We're going to be reading from verses 6 to 13. If you don't have a Bible, don't worry. Just follow along with us on the screen. The version that we'll be reading from is the New King James Version. So, Matthew chapter 26, beginning at verse 6. And when Jesus was in Bethany at the house of Simon the leper, a woman came to him having an alabaster flask full of very costly fragrant oil. And she poured it on his head as he sat at the table. But when his disciples saw it, they were indignant, saying, "Why this waste? For this fragrant oil might have been sold for much and given to the poor." But when Jesus was aware of it, he said to them, "Why do you trouble the woman? For she has done a good work for me. For you have the poor with you always, but me you do not have always. For in pouring this fragrant oil on my body, she did it for my burial. Assuredly, I say to you, wherever this gospel is preached in the whole world, what this woman has done will also be told as a memorial to her." Although Matthew's account makes it seem as this event is chronological with what we've been talking about, John's account would conclusively show that it is not. This event occurred on the Saturday before, while Jesus was in Bethany, the day before Jesus' triumphal entry into Jerusalem. Matthew's account says that Jesus was in the house of Simon the leper when the event occurred, while John 12 makes it seem that Jesus is at the house of Lazarus, whom he raised from the dead. Is there a contradiction? No, for there are a couple of possibilities. First, while it is very likely that Jesus actually was staying with Lazarus and his sisters, three of his close friends, while in Bethany, that doesn't necessitate that he had to eat dinner there. In fact, Matthew's account would tell us that this dinner and event actually occurred at Simon's house. So that is one possibility. There is, however, another possibility. This was actually Simon the leper's house, but Lazarus and his sisters lived there also. That would then give us a reason why in John's account he notes that Martha was serving the meal, something that might be peculiar if she too was a guest. Whichever possibility is true, it shows us that there isn't a contradiction here. It's that these two accounts are told from different perspectives. Simon is described as a leper in this passage. According to Leviticus, lepers were unclean and were to reside outside the village until they were pronounced clean by the priest. So why did Jesus eat in the house of a leper, and why was the leper seemingly present? The necessary conclusion is that Simon, though he had been a leper, was no longer a leper, either because Jesus had healed him or the leprosy had been cured on its own. He was likely still referred to by Matthew as a leper, so as not to confuse him with another Simon, like Simon Peter, for instance. While at Simon's house, an unidentified woman comes to Jesus who had an alabaster flask, a white stone flask, which contained expensive fragrant oil. Matthew does not name this woman, but John does in John 12, which after reading, we find out it was Mary, Lazarus' sister, who had the oil. What she did with the oil was pour it over Jesus' head as he sat at the table. John would also tell us that she anointed his feet as well and wiped them with her hair. The disciples, when they saw this, were upset, saying that what Mary had done was wasted the oil, which could have been sold and given to the poor. Matthew makes it seem like all the disciples said this, which of course multiple of them could have privately thought, but John tells us that it was Judas who actually voiced the complaint. When Jesus heard them speaking this, though, he put an end to it right away by asking why were they troubling this woman, for she had done a good work. When we see other people do good works, works that God approves of, we shouldn't complain about it, even if we would have done something different. The reason this was a good work is because this oil was preparing Jesus' body for burial. The poor are present in society always, but he was not always going to be with them. Was Jesus despising the poor here? No, for in chapter 19 he told the rich young ruler to sell all that he had and give to the poor. Jesus, though, is saying sometimes we need to prioritize what we do. There will always be opportunities to help the poor, and we should try to find those opportunities. For no matter what social programs our government can come up with, there will always be those who are poor. However, sometimes a situation comes up where we should rather spend our resources on something else that needed to be done. Jesus was about to die, and so this oil was being put to good use. It was not being wasted, as the disciples thought. It again was preparing Jesus' body for burial. So valuable was this act to Jesus that he said that wherever the gospel would be preached, what this woman had done will also be told as a memorial to her. And that's exactly what we have, for it is recorded in the Bible in 2 other places, showing us that what Mary did for Jesus was important, for it showed her love and concern for him in his time of need. With that, our time is up for today. Lord willing, we hope you'll join us for tomorrow's discussion in Matthew chapter 26, verses 14 to 25, as we continue our walk through the Bible, one verse at a time.
I'm not ashamed.
Thank you for watching today's episode. We hope that you found it edifying and ask that you not only subscribe to our channel and podcast, but that you like and share this episode among your friends, so that the saving gospel of Jesus Christ can go out to the whole world.
Of his cross.